there's some tools that you can use that identify broken backlinks. So you probably just have to type into Google like broken backlink checker tools, yeah, and you'll get a list of different that allow you to do it. And then what you can do is you can go to a website, like any website that's in your space, for example, and you can basically analyze the whole site and look for links that are pointing out of that site that are broken. And then you'd have to look at and verify that, okay, this site is now down, this site is no longer available, and so on and so forth. And if that site is similar, the one that's broken, if it's similar to a service or a blog or something that you offer, then that's where you've got an opportunity.
Welcome to the Magnificent Marketing Podcast, where we interview the top marketing experts in the world and keep you up to date on all the changes and best practices to help you grow your business and stay on the cutting edge. Welcome to the show.
Hello, everyone. I'm here today with Mark Sams from Ninja Outreach. And Mark is foremost an influencer marketing and outreach expert. So before he and his co-founders developed the all-in-one lead prospecting and outreach software, which is Ninja Outreach, there was Mark manually doing everything. Now Mark leads Ninja Outreach as COO and makes sure company operations follow his principle of quality over quantity. And today we are going to be talking about great ways to get backlinks. Mark, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited to be on the call. How you guys?
Doing excellent. And I know Ninja Outreach is a big-time SEO operation over there, and I know backlinks are obviously still very, very, very paramount in getting ranked. So very excited to dig into this with you today and see what wisdom you can shed on all of us. But before we get into all your great tips and everything, go ahead and just quickly explain the importance of backlinks. I know there has been there's sometimes some confusion there. So if you can explain the importance of links, that'd be great. So
I guess one of the ways I like to explain how backlinks work and why they're relevant and stuff like that, and where the authority of links come from and stuff like that, because not all backlinks are equal. It's something like this. So if you go to university and you write a dissertation, for example, and you go to your professor and you say, here's my dissertation, here's the work that I've done. And that person comes to you and says, so that professor comes to you and he says to you, that's excellent work, I really like that, and what I want to do is I want to send this to other professionals as well and have them look in, and they give it their stamp of approval as well. That's the way I look at backlinks. It's like somebody giving you their approval, and depending on the authority of the person that's giving you the approval, depends on how well your site ranks. So if it's somebody that has a lot of respect and people respect them and so on and so forth, that's like an authority website. So like a New York Times, Huffington Post, websites like that gives you a ton of authority.
And those links still play a big factor in ranking through the algorithms with Google and Bing and whatnot.
I would say 100%. Like link building is like, I guess, the cornerstone of building organic traffic from mainly Google, but obviously all the other sites use some form of algorithm that includes links as well.
Gotcha. Now there has been, some confusion, especially over the last 5 to 6 years, about all the talk about black hat, white hat, because sometimes when you hear link building, if you've been doing this long enough, you almost automatically think of shady ways, link farms, all of this stuff. That's obviously not necessarily the case at all. But can you please set the record straight on what used to be done and what should not be practiced any longer?
So, yeah, like there's all types of things that people have tried to do to game the system. Like, so some people, what they'll do is they'll buy a ton of domains. They'll try to put some sort of fast content on those sites that are relevant to maybe an industry that they're trying to rank for, and try to improve the rankings of those sites and then use those sites to link to their main money sites and stuff like that. There's a ton of different things, but Google hire some of the smartest people in the world, and they understand what sort of things people are doing to try to game their system, and they pretty much, with the different updates they bring out, wipe a lot of those sites out of the system quite quickly. Now, obviously, there are going to be ones that do get through and maybe will allow you to rank well for a little while, but if you're running a business and you're not just sort of coming from a place to just churn and burn, you're actually looking at something where you're really trying to do something long term. That mindset of just getting some rankings just for a few weeks, a few months or so, it's just not going to really get you anywhere.
No, I know, yeah, I hear you now. But what imagine a business, you're talking to business, and they, or a business owner is listening to this, and they really, they're hearing you, but they're not really understanding exactly what you're saying. And if they're going to be approaching a firm that can help them with their SEO and their organic rankings, like what should be some red flags? If an SEO is going to say, hey, I'm going to do this for you, what are some of those red flags that you should raise your eyebrow and be like, oh, okay, they're basically, building me a plan that has a trap door that I could fall through at any time. Like, what are those, like, how can someone recognize if someone were to tell them, hey, we're going to do this for you, and you're like, oh, that's not what I want to be done? How can you help somebody understand that?
So if they talk about having a list, a group of managed websites where they can add your link to existing articles on managed websites and stuff like that, that's something to definitely be concerned about, because it's the sole purpose of them if they own those sites and have them all on one hosting block and stuff like that, and they're just looking to and it's just purely about giving you a link and stuff like that, like that's something to be concerned about. If they're doing things like where they're getting you links on high authority websites, but then they're saying things like, it's like a profile page, and it's a link. It's common sense stuff, right? So like, if like you see them giving you placements, and you're looking at these placements, and they just look dodgy. Like if it just looks like it's like a profile page of a big site, like for example, and it's just like a link just randomly there, that stuff looks dodgy. What you're looking for is something that's in editorial on a real site that gets engagement, if you know what I mean. Like, you don't want a site that's just, if you look at the site has thousands of articles on it, just random articles, no real social engagement, no real sort of like comments or anything like that, and it just literally just looks like it's just an article directory with links back to different people's sites. You want something that looks real, that gives an impression of a real site that's managed by like a real person, you know what I mean? And these things like, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like it's quite obvious to see it, and I think your radar should go off that there's something wrong about this, because you're looking for something that is very genuine.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I'm just trying to, for you, it's second nature. You can probably glance at an email and know in 2 seconds if it's dodgy or shady, but, other people have a harder time because this, there's a lot of technical aspects to this. There's so many little nooks and crannies, especially when we're talking about on-page work and so many things that can be done that, I'm just trying to give some people some indicators of when their radar should go up. Like, for instance, I get these emails all the time. Hey, we can get you on Huffington Post for $400 and this for $300 and this for that. That's my plan. That kind of stuff you need to kind of just push delete and go on. Are we on the same page there?
I would say yes, because at the end of the day, like, if they say they can get you on Huffington Post for this much money and so on and so forth, like that shouldn't be happening. Like, the only way something like that is that they maybe have a connection with somebody that's a contributor on that site, and that person takes like a backhanded payment to mention you a bigger article that they put out there. And like, again, like, that sort of stuff you need to be careful of, because the Daily Mail used to do that. People used to do that a lot with the Daily Mail, and to the point where it was affecting the Daily Mail's SEO, and they literally just made their whole site no follow. So any outbound links basically had no value anymore. So
wow.
you definitely want to be careful with doing stuff like that, because obviously you can pay a lot of money for something, and these sites have the power to literally just decide we're going to make our whole site no follow. And then when I say no follow, what I mean is that the link provides no value when into your website sort of thing. So you definitely, I guess the key thing you want to do when you're looking for a site or somebody to work with when it comes to building links and so on and so forth, you want to look for like patterns that you can see are authentic. So, for example, like guest posting is a great way to get like exposure to other people's audience, and also to have a link that goes back to your site. Now, there's been a lot of conversation with Google and different people talking about guest posting is dead and stuff like that. And I believe that when it comes to a point of view of where if somebody just scraping together like a fun 500-word article and just trying to get as many links in that article as possible, putting out to different sites, then yeah, that's not a quality guest post. But if you're delivering epic posts with lots of reference points and citations and so on and so forth, and it's a really great post, like Google quicker picking that stuff up. They can look at social signals, they can look at engagement on a website, they can look at how sticky a page is and stuff like that, how long somebody stays on the page, and they can work out if this is a quality piece of content. And if that's the case, if you are providing a quality piece of content that you're publishing on somebody else's site, and within that you link to a page within your site that maybe expands upon a topic that you think about, then that's not a problem. It's just when people try to exploit these types of things, and it becomes a little bit shady. Does that make sense?
No, it absolutely does, and you definitely started to kind of move into some ways to get outside links and get some backlinks, and you were talking about guest blogging and guest posting, and obviously, you can. And let's explain again. Let's remind ourselves that these words that we're using, not everybody's like 100% familiar with them. Basically, a backlink is when somebody from another site links to your article or links to your website and references you in some form or fashion, be it this is your printing company, or you wrote about dental implants or whatever, and somebody links to that because they see it as a worthwhile reference for their own audience and readers. It actually can make their article better. And what happens is you actually greatly benefit from that because you're giving Google an indicator that, hey, this is what we're all about. So, then you could start to rank for various types of terms over time. So that's what we're talking about, guest blogging and getting like a backlink. Now, as far as, actually getting that to actually happen now, Mark, to actually get that to you actually get the opportunity to put your article up somewhere else. Now, let's talk about that. How have you seen that happen? Because it is easier said than done. Obviously, if you have some relationships with people, you can pick up the phone and shoot them a direct email or whatever. But normally, other businesses, they're going to need to outreach to people that they don't know each other yet. So, in your experience, how do you make this happen for your clients? How do you get a lot of guest blogging, or how do you get them to pick up and point to your post that you spent a lot of time writing? Can you talk about that a little bit?
100%. So, I guess maybe an example I could use is when we first started out, we didn't have no connections in the game. We knew nobody, and nobody that we needed to actually work with, I guess. And then what we did is we practiced what we preach. So we done research, we used our tool to do research, and we found people that were relevant. So I guess, let me take it back another step. The first thing you need to do is this: you need to say to yourself, who owns or has influence with the audience that I'm trying to acquire? That's the first question that you ask yourself. You say, who owns or has influence with the audience that I'm trying to acquire?
Now let me stop you right there, Mark. How do you find that out? How can we help people find that, find out who owns and who has influence? How can they go about that?
The first thing you want to think about is you want to think about your space. Like, so if you're in the marketing space, the people that own and have influence in your audience is maybe other people that are in the marketing space, or if you're doing home repairs and so on and so forth, people that maybe own and have influence is people that maybe are in interior design and so on and so forth. You've got to think about it logically. Like, you've got to, maybe if you're in the jewelry space, like you think about like maybe people that are talking about fashion and fashion accessories and so on and so forth. And it's the words that I'm using there: fashion accessories. These are your initial seed keywords that you're going to run searches with. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it absolutely does. Now, is this all logical? You're just Googling, figuring this out, or are there certain tools that can help you to identify those?
To be honest, like, there are tons of tools that you can use, but what I don't want to do is I don't want to confuse people too much. Like, this stuff can be done at a very basic level. Like, you don't need to use tools to do this. Like, you can use Google. You can use, you can use Google. Like, you can start off and you can say to yourself, okay, I deal with self-development, yeah. What are people doing, and who owns my audience in this space? People that are talking about personal development, peak performance, mindset, and so on and so forth. And all these words I'm using: personal development, peak performance, mindset. Run searches on those first of all. See what comes up. As you go, as you see what comes up, you start to see what websites are out there. And this is the thing: what a lot of people fail to do is do this initial research part, because by doing this part, you start to see who are all the key players. When you're running these different searches, you'll see recurring themes of different people that come up for all the different terms that you're saying. That's somebody that's got quite a lot of authority in that space, and somebody that you probably want to, at some point, work with and collaborate with, right? So this is that's the way that I approach it. But then what I then do is I then look at what sort of content are they writing, what sort of stuff are they blogging about, because the main keywords are great, but I want to know what sort of stuff they're writing about, what sort of content are they writing about. And then I get even more insight I get more keywords and phrases and sentences that I can use to run searches with. And as I pick up all these different keywords and phrases, I normally just log them in like a document. And then as I said, you can just use Google to do this, right? I personally, we use our tool and we run searches in the tool, and by doing so, we find a ton of bloggers and people that are very relevant, and then we save them, and then we save them into a list, and then those people that are saved into a list, we start to reach out to. Now, the key thing is that, like, for us, what our aim is that we're saying to ourselves, okay, we segment people. So we say that there's like the top tier people, and these are the people that you want to not necessarily just go out to them blindly with some sort of templated outreach message. You want to spend a bit of time building up a rapport with them. So you'll maybe have like 50 to 100 top tier people that are really important for you to potentially work with, right? And those people, you want to do things like follow them on social media. You want to follow their RSS feeds and so on and so forth, whatever content they're bringing out, and comment on it, engage in stuff that they're talking about on social media, just to keep in their mind space, so that when you do reach out to them, they'll be like, oh, that's David, oh, that's Steve, oh, that's Mark, or whoever. You know what I mean? So they'll remember you because you add value to the stuff that they do. Yeah, so the top tier people. Then everybody else, as bad as it may sound, you kind of want to just put together an outreach message and just reach out to them, because at the end of the day, there's thousands, tens of thousands of bloggers out there, right? And it doesn't make sense to personalize every single message to every single person. It doesn't allow for scale. Like and you don't know who's going to say yes, who's going to say no. So you literally, everybody else, you pretty much have to put together not a generic message, because you can, like with tools like ours and other tools and other outreach tools that are out there, you can create like customized messaging where you put like, hey, and then the token name, and then use tokens like I was doing some research on and put keyword tokens that replaces it and stuff like that. So you can give it a feel of customization. But for everybody else, you want to sort of like reach out to them with a more generic type of template.
Okay, so let me just push pause here for a second, and just kind of clarify again what you're saying, and I like what you're saying. So, okay, again, getting link backs from people, topically relevant people in your industry, and hopefully high authority. But again, don't get caught up in only the high authority, because medium and low authority also count for you. So you want to basically pick out a certain sect of people that you want to reach out to on a really ultra personal way. Because if you score even one of them, if you get to guest blog on one of them, if they can start referencing and linking back to you from even one of those, it's going to move the needle. And then also, you can use these finder tools where then all of a sudden you go out to the masses, and hopefully you pick up some of those here and there, because those, again, they will either let you guest blog and or link back to or use you as a reference point. So far, have I heard you correctly? Are we on the same page? Okay. 100%. Now let me ask you. Let me ask one question, because this is something that I have recognized over the years and learned. And again, let me know if I'm wrong here. But and getting backlinks, and of course, like these super high authority, 70, 80 domain, authority sites, they have, crap tons and tons of links pointing to them. But if you're competing on a local level, if you're competing against, people within your city, for most markets, for most industries, for most businesses, even getting a few link backs to you will leapfrog you ahead of like a super large percentage of your competition. Is that correct? Because I think a lot of people look at this and they're being like, oh man, I have to do this and score 100 links. Oh my God, this is too overwhelming. I might as well not even do it. But correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, even getting 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 link backs is going to leapfrog you over most of your competition. Is that accurate, or do you need a ton of link backs or backlinks?
It's accurate for now, but like the reason why I say for now, yes, because still not when you're dealing with a local level, there's just not enough savvy people that are actually doing what they're supposed to be doing when it comes to link building. So there's people that are ranking just for pure luck, if you know what I mean, because nobody else is link building in their space, and potentially just got the best content or the most engaged content for whatever reason, right? But yeah, a few links will definitely move the needle for you. But the mindset is that if you can get a few links, if you can just rinse and repeat what you did to do a few links,
yeah,
and you consistently keep getting links, like just a few a month, like 2 or 3 every month, sort of thing. Yeah.
Oh, it's an ever-going thing. I'm with you, but I was just making sure that was correct, and like, hey, get going, because even a little bit of success is going to translate for you. But you got to keep going, yeah.
Level, because like there's so much less competition on the local levels. Variations of local types of searches that people put in, like they'll put in like the keyword with the area and so on and so forth and stuff like that. Like if you're ranking on those types of levels, like that's so much more powerful, and the commercial intent behind those types of searches is a lot higher than some of the hard to get types of keywords.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So all right, cool. Go ahead. So I think where we left off was you suggested building out your money list of people that you want to collaborate with. Be personal with them, and then not to like let all the other fish in the sea go away, so to speak. You will use some of these outreach tools, create custom templates that are marginally customizable and personalized. You can personalize them, but a little bit, and reach out to them. Of course, sculpt out, show your best work. State your case, how you're providing the value, and do that, and then rinse and repeat, and continue to do it. Now, one thing I think we all need to understand is you better be giving them a good reason to want to team up with you. You got to be providing helpful content or a resource or a cheat sheet or a task list or whatever, right? So, okay. So continue on. What are some other good ways to get backlinks, or, you know, continue on with that thought if you'd like?
Okay, so another thing you can do, and this works really well for us, and I guess the way this came about was by accident. So I guess how this started was what we did. I was reading an article on like a blogger's website. I think it was Neil Patel or something like that, and he mentioned a website called Topsy. And I remember I clicked to go over to Topsy, and I saw that the link was broken, like it was going to like a dead page. And I thought Topsy, and then when the description they gave for Topsy was like it was something that was very similar to what we offered. So it just sparked something off in me, and I said to like the people who were in my team, I just said to them, hey, like go and analyze all of the people that are linking through to Topsy, and let's put together like a broken backlink building template out to these people, and see if we can get people replacing where it was linking to Topsy to link to us, basically. And this is what's called backlink building. And basically what it is where you identify a website that has now gone down, and there's people that are still linking to that website. And it's where you reach out to people that are still linking to that website, and you notify them that, hey, you're linking to a link that's broken now, and your resource has to be similar to it. So it's hard to find these opportunities. But when you do, it's a gold mine. Your resource has to be similar to it. But when you do, it's like I say, you basically say, hey, I noticed that you're linking to this page. It's a broken link. I just wanted to let you know about it. And I thought that your alternative, right? So we say that our website, it would be a great replacement for that particular site. Let me know what you think, sort of thing, something of that nature, yeah. And as I say, these opportunities, broken backlink building is not just something, in my opinion, it's not something that like is always available to you. Like you can do some research and some of socials to find those opportunities, but it's not always there. And sometimes you come across it sort of luckily, and we came across it in that sort of manner. But this leads into how we sort of came about finding another link building method. So we did this, and we reached out.
Real quick, Mark. Real quick. How do you find that? How do you? I mean, you know, we obviously don't want to wait till we stumble upon a broken link that fits our. You know, how do you recognize and find those?
There's some tools out there, and I can't think of the names of. Like there's some tools that you can use that identify broken backlinks. So you probably just have to type into Google like broken backlink checker tools, yeah, and you'll get a list of different that allow you to do it. And then what you can do is you can go to a website, like any website that's in your space, for example, and you can basically analyze the whole site and look for links that are pointing out of that site that are broken. And then you'd have to look at and verify that, okay, this site is now down, this site is no longer available, and so on and so forth. And if that site is similar, the one that's broken, if it's similar to a service or a blog or something that you offer, then that's where you've got an opportunity, because now if you analyze the people that are linking to that broken link, and you can use tools like Ahrefs or SEMrush or something like that to analyze who's linking to that asset. That's that broken asset, and then you can get like a CSV file of everybody that's linking to it, and then you can reach out to them and let them know that you're linking to a broken link. So that's how you would identify those types of opportunities.
And you're doing them a solid, and you're doing them a favor.
100%, 100%. But it's tough. Like, let me just make sure it's clear. Like, it's tough to. It's not just like, oh, I just run a search and I find these. Like, you'll go through a site, you'll find broken links, and the links just don't match up, and then you have to go through another one. It's an arduous process, and I'm just making sure people are aware of that. It's not just like easy peasy like some sort of articles try to make it seem. It's not. It's hard work to do it. But like, you just find one or two good assets like that, and it can literally change the game for you. Because finding Topsy had 80,000 links pointing into it. Now, there were a lot of duplicates and so on and so forth, but we ended up with like, I think, a few thousand.
That changed your business, didn't it, Mark?
Big time.
Right. That's a game changer. Like what you're saying is, you're basically like mining for oil, right? And you might go 10 years without hitting anything, but if you hit, I mean, it could literally make a business, you know.
Crazy. Because we got links from places like Eventbrite. By doing this, we got links from Get Response. We got like and Eventbrite, I think is like a DA 90 something or DA 89 to 90.
Wow.
So, and it's broken backlink building like and literally it was the ease of it blows your mind because literally like I remember we sent the email out to them. They was like, "Oh, thanks for letting us know about that."
Sure.
We replaced it with your link. And I remember with Eventbrite, they even said to us, "How did you even find out about this?" And so on and so forth, which actually led to them becoming a customer.
I was about to say. Well, let me tell you.
It was crazy. I couldn't believe like Get Response, like it's an autoresponder. We showed them about it, and they replaced it with our link. And just a ton of other websites did the same thing. And don't get me wrong, some people didn't respond. Some people said no. It's just how it goes. But like, the ones that we did get, oh man, it was super powerful. But then what that led to was then me thinking to myself, hold on a second. So if people are open to linking to us from us telling them about broken backlinks, what about if we look at people that are our competition or people that own our audience and look at who's linking to them and why they're linking to them, and then if we reach out to those people and we say, hey, I noticed that you're linking to ABC software that's similar to what we do, or we do something similar to them, but we do it different, or we do it better, whatever the context you use. Would you be open to adding us an additional resource? And we formulated an outreach message around that premise, and we literally got thousands and thousands of links from our competition, people that own the audience that we're going after. And we just
So what did you do? Did you say, hey, instead of linking to their article, link to our article, or did you say also? How did you go about that?
No, we wasn't that aggressive. What we did is we actually said, would you add us as an additional resource?
Okay.
So alongside them. So for example, someone that's on competition, could you add us as an additional resource to give variation to your article? You know what I mean? And some cases, they took it as what you said, like they're, oh, yeah, we can replace your one with their one, and we let it be, like all fair in love and war, right? So we let it be, like they replaced us with somebody else sort of thing. But we wasn't asking in that way. We were saying like, can you add us an additional resource? And why I think that worked so well, and why we were getting like we were getting things like 20% response rates from our outreach, and out of that 20%, in the regions of like 85 to 90% of people being positive and saying, yes, we can do something. If not yes, like, so they might be like, oh, we don't change old articles, what we then go back to them with, or they may suggest that you can write a guest post for us. Or, you know what I'm saying? Because now the dialogue is open, the opportunity was there to do something with that person.
Yeah.
So,
no, that's awesome.
So what that led to us generating several hundreds of links from DAs, from anything from like DA 20s up to DA 80s and everything in between. Like it was a really long run of doing it. And we still do it today. We still do it. In fact, obviously we've gone through a ton of it now because we've been doing it for about 18 months straight now.
Well, can I ask you a question about that? I'm curious how you went about that. By the way, genius. I get it. Did you, when you looked, you go and you find your competitors and who's linking to them, right? So you get those list of people to reach out to. Did you then dig into those sites and find a particular article they're writing about, or how you have an article that matches up to them? Or did you just basically say, hey, would you list this as an additional resource, and here are 4 to 5 articles that we've put out that, you know, might be helpful for your readership or your audience? Did you do that, or did you like go specifically into those competitor websites, find an article, find where they were linking, and talk about specifically within that article to link to specifically this resource that you're putting out? Do you follow what I'm asking?
Yeah, I do. So,
okay, how did you go about that?
It's a variation of we were fluid and flexible based on the situation, which means that there was no hard and fast rules to what we was doing. But the key thing is that so for example, let's say we've got a blog that's in our space and they own the audience and they're going after them. We've analysed everybody that's linking to them, yeah? So we've got a link to somebody that's linking to them. Now, when I say you've got a link to somebody that's linking to them, what that means is we have a web page, and on that page, somewhere on that page, they're linking to our competitor, yeah? Or the person that owns our audience. And typically, what we were looking for is where it happens within an article. Now, there's a good percentage of times when it happens in an article, it would be either incontextual or it would be a list post, right? Mm-hmm. So if it's a list post, then what we will do is we just ask to be added as an additional resource. And in that situation, typically being added as a resource just meant that they were linking directly to our homepage with our name, Ninja Outreach, in that situation. Now, there were other situations where we came across a website and they were linking to our competitor, but the way they were linking to them, there wasn't no room for us to really, it didn't really make sense for us to say, could you add us an additional resource? Just because of the way that it was written in, it would just be like, it would be too forced to add us. And that's where what we would do is we'd then spend a bit, actually what would happen with that type of site is that would go into another bucket. And we'd go and look at that one later. What we wanted to do is we wanted to get all the low-hanging fruit first of all, so all the quick opportunities of where like it was a list post or it was an obvious opportunity where we could just quickly get ourselves placed there. We went after all of those ones first of all, and we'd make it super easy for the person, like where we'd write the paragraph for them in the HTML ready for them just to basically copy and paste into the section. They would make it super easy for them. We'd even offer, like, if the person came back to us and so on and so forth and was like, yeah, I will, or they were humming and ahhing, we offer access to the platform for like 3 months, 2 months, 3 months, depending on the type of site it was. We might even offer lifetime, if you know what I mean. It really depends on the.
So bottom line is you combined a macro and a micro approach. You did the macro to find out everything. You went and you did your research and you figured it all out. You looked it out. Then you scanned. You grouped everything into as much of, again, a macro outreach that of unified outreach, meaning, hey, can you add us as an additional resource? Here you go. And then you grouped them and then you sent those out in bulk, as much as you can. So, but for the other ones, you specifically looked where it made sense to how to utilize. And again, this sounds very tedious, and it is, but the value that you get out of this, I mean, it's almost like, you need to be thinking that, every time you score one of these, you're looking at $200, $300, $400, $500, $1,000, $2,000 worth of a backlink, depending on the domain authority. I mean, it could even be more. It could mean, if it actually is the tips the scales that get you on that top half of the first page, it could mean your whole entire business, So it is tedious, but each time you score one of these, you got to be looking at that as like cash money almost. And again, you won't necessarily reap the benefits until you build up enough cash money to be ranking on the top page. But anyway, that's how I've justified it in my head, because you don't see the benefits right away.
You don't see the benefits right away, and we were building anything from sort of like 20 to 30, 40 some months, links a month. Every single month. That we got it so systemized that every single month we're reaching out to thousands of people and we was getting 20 to 30, 40, 50 links every single month, just coming in. All different domain authorities, so it looked so natural. It was so natural.
It is natural.
So natural. Like it wasn't like all DA 50 and above or anything like that. It was mixtures of DA 20s, DA 23s, 50s, 30s, 40s, everything. Do you know what I mean? And but what comes out of this as well is that some people were like, let's do guest posting together. Some people want to do webinars together. Affiliate opportunities come out of it. People become affiliates and so on and so forth. Like lots of different opportunities. And then then what that led us to is where what we used to do is we would just reach out to people once we sort of like exhausted that. And there's still opportunity there, but like once we really sort of exhausted that and we felt that like, where do we go next with this, is we would just find people that are in our space, reach out to them, not necessarily asking them to link to us, but just say, hey, what are you doing, what's happening, we're in the same space, like we're looking for opportunities to collaborate. And then we put forward some opportunities, like let's do something with guest posts when we're doing an expert roundup, we'd like you to be part of it or something like that. And that alone, we do that consistently now as well. And that has us, because the thing that we learned is that if we can have as many dialogues open with different people who are bloggers and influencers in our space, the better. And what happens is the more people we're speaking to, people will start to mention us naturally, and it just continues to happen. And then what came out of that is, I'll tell you some really cool things that sort of come from that, is that, for example, I was just looking at Google Analytics one day, must have been like a year into the business, and I started seeing traffic coming from Forbes. And I was thinking to myself, hold on a second, we haven't got a link from Forbes. Like, we tried to reach out to them, they didn't even respond back, right? We didn't get anything from them, yeah? So I'm getting traffic there. So I put in Forbes' website into Google and put Ninja Outreach next to it, and an article came up. And you can see, like, you know, like in the search tool, you can see, like, Ninja Outreach, because I've obviously done it in search, in bold. So I went into the site, and I could see there's this guy, and I've never met this guy. We never spoke to him. And he's written an article, and he talked about micro-influencers, and he's linked to us. And the only reason I could see that would happen is because of the amount of people because of the grind of us just what we call being everywhere, we call it the be everywhere approach of just getting ourselves out there on every blog, in every place, guest posting everywhere. Doesn't matter if you're big, small, medium-sized blog groups, just getting there. When he done his research and he looked around for tools that deal with outreach, we must have came up enough times that he just saw us as authority and he just linked to us. Like, if you're looking for micro-influencers, use Ninja Outreach.
Nice.
You know what I mean? And he's a contributor on Forbes, and we've never spoken to him. Similar thing happened on Moz and Shopify as well. And that also happened on Huffington Post. And it's purely and we never actually published on those sites ourselves. And I truly believe that to this day that it's to do with the grind and the hustle that we put out there, where we was basically creating that be everywhere approach, and it made us an authority in the space.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's what happens, though. You know, you start getting people to reach out to you, asking to collaborate on your site. And then you can take advantage of those by saying, you know what, sure, do you mind posting back from your site to us as well? You know, that's every time I do. You know, every time anybody reaches out to guest blog on our site, I try to take advantage, you know, and try to make it a fair situation. So, yeah, I mean, you know, if stuff comes out of the order. Now, don't count on Forbes linking back to you, everybody. but that is a success story and something that will naturally happen. I mean, it could naturally happen.
Put the work out there, and naturally what will start to happen is that people will start to mention you organically in places that you wouldn't even believe.
No, we've experienced the same thing. It's really kind of a neat thing. You're like, oh, wow. You know, you never thought that would happen. Well, cool. Well, any other advice? I mean, you've given some great tidbits. I know for the listeners, and I'm 100% positive for me, there's a couple things that you've reinforced for me today that I'm going to get with our team to make sure that we take a next couple steps here. Any other good advice you have on getting backlinks that have worked for you? Any low-hanging fruit, you know, getting customers or, you know, your school or anybody to link back to you or anything like that can be accomplished fairly quickly?
So, like, there's lots of different little things that you can do, right? And like, I'm kind of with this point, I'm trying to talk about things that I feel move the needle the most. So, like, similar things like when you can reach out to people with guest blog post opportunities, but you can reach out to people to do product reviews. You can reach out, and depending on your product, it depends on how this works, but you can reach people that, if you have like a software or some sort of service or something like that, you can reach out to people that have resource pages and see if you can get placed on their resource page and stuff like that. That's some other stuff that you can do. If, like, for example, you come across, like, you can do research on people that are writing content that is similar to your space, and you can reach out to them and say, hey, look, I noticed you wrote this article and so on and so forth, it deals with this. Like, I'm a foremost expert in this space, and this is what I've done in the past and stuff like that. And I'll be happy in the future you want to get a quote from me or something of that nature. It's just about thinking about what creative ways can I use to collaborate, build a relationship, and work with people. So it's just thinking about that sort of stuff that can open the doors for you to build a relationship with somebody where they're open to mentioning you. And I guess another thing that you can do is a bit more longer-winded, but is I don't think you guys have heard of expert roundups or influencer roundups, where what you do is you reach out to, say, a ton of experts within a particular space, and you pose a question to them. Like, so for example, one that we did recently was, what do people think that the trends for SEO are going to be for 2017? And we reached out to a ton of SEO experts, and I think we ended up publishing 55 people's responses to what they thought the trends were going to be, and it created a huge, massive article. I think it was like 10,000 word article there. And but what was more powerful about that is that once we published it, all those people that were involved in it, we reached out to them after we published it and said, hey, we just published this article, we're going to be getting the word out and so on and so forth. Like, if you guys can get it out to your audience, let your audience know about it and stuff like that. And what happened is that we had people like John Rampton who linked to it, different SEO experts linking to the particular page from their website. Some people sharing it most people share it on their social media. Some people mailed it to their newsletters and stuff like that. And it made the article go viral. The article got thousands and thousands of shares, tens of thousands of views to the actual page and stuff like that. And it generated a ton of sales as well. But then we took it one step even further, is that because now we've built a relationship with all of those people that were part of the expert roundup, we then reached out to those people and said, hey, thanks for being part of the roundup. Like, it went so well that it really makes sense for you guys to join our affiliate program and start driving traffic to our affiliate program and generate revenue, because your audience is just so in line with what we do, just based on the results we got when we did that with you. And where if you would just reached out to those 55 people cold to become your affiliate partner, you'd be lucky to get maybe 2 or 3 of them become your affiliate partner. We were able to get in the regions of 90% of the people actually sign up and become affiliates with us and start driving traffic, which still benefits us till today, because there's people still driving traffic, still getting recurring sales and so on and so forth based off of that effort. So, yeah.
Now let me take this down to a local level and kind of restate what you mentioned. You said a roundup post where you reached out to 50 or 60, 70 people who ended up giving their SEO tip for the future or whatever. Now, people don't necessarily have to be like super influential. Granted, you reach out to good people for specifically something like you were, but to take this to like a local level, people could reach out if they're like an event center. They could reach out to 10 different venues and say, hey, what's your top tip for throwing an event, right? And even doing something like that, again, I think a lot of businesses and companies shy away because they read what these big companies are doing. I mean, you can imagine, Mark, how somebody might look at what you did and feel like, oh, I could never do that. I don't have that many contacts. I don't have that authority, whatever, right? But, it's all relative, and the success that you need to rank in the SEO space is immensely more difficult than somebody looking to rank in a local city. So yeah, I wanted to understand that when we say roundup, you're basically collecting a group of people that will know something about what you're asking. Throwing an event, what's your top tip? Or if you're throwing an open house, what's your number one real estate tip for you've had success with throwing, stuff like that. So you can take it to that level, and this again, you're not going to move the needle where you're going to create hundreds of thousands of revenue like Mark probably created, but it's all relative, and you can still move the needle on a local level. So it's basically rounding up a group of people who have something to say that would be interesting to your audience, and get them to collaborate and contribute and team up with. I mean, is that did I hear you, Mark, right?
Because we've worked with like our direct clients, and we've had people in completely different spaces to us. Like, you know, we had one client who had like a body scrub type of product, and they done a roundup talking about getting beauty tips from beauty bloggers and so on and so forth and stuff like that. We had a company who was a water park in Greece, and they got travel bloggers to give their top tips on summer vacations and so on and so forth. And it created a ton of exposure, got them published in papers and so on and so forth. But yeah, 100%. Doing this sort of stuff here is innovative, and outside of the marketing bubble, a lot of companies don't do this stuff. So if you do that in a space where companies are not doing this stuff, it will make you innovative. It will draw a lot of attention to you, and you just don't know what can come out of it. So it's definitely worth trying, and it's not that hard. Like, it's just about putting your mind to it and just like finding some people that are relevant, getting a group of people and just reaching out to them. I think the biggest problem for most people is that they block themselves by saying, oh, they're not going to answer to me because I'm not big enough. But what you got to understand is that I'm seeing companies who haven't even got a website up here yet do an expert roundup with people, do you know what I mean? And get some big names in their space respond to it, saying that, yeah, this is where our website is going to be when we publish it. So don't ever think that you can't do it, because you can.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is also the whole delayed gratification. You know, us as human beings aren't wired to wait, you know, especially in this day and age. We want instant gratification, right? So I think that's a big part of it as well. And not to mention, you could do all this work. You're going to be in line to reap the benefits from the search engines and ranking, but that might even just not even happen for 6 to 7 weeks if Google doesn't index, you know, or they take, you know, there's just a process, a waiting time that you got to go through, that everybody has to go through. So, you know, with that being said, Mark, and again, I know this is the $1 million question that's unanswerable, but you know, how long, you know, what is the frame that you should say, you know, if you're talking to clients, say, hey, all right, you know, we can probably start seeing the needle move and start seeing rankings climb and start seeing you on the first page. I know it's going to vary by marketplace and everything, but give me a wide range, at least just to get people's mindset right, because you're going to be doing all this work and you've got to stick with it, because you're not going to see results for 6, 9, 12, 18, 24 months, whatever. Can you just shed a little bit of light there, you know, as best you can?
Typically, what I say to people is you'll start to see momentum, yeah, like within sort of like 4 to 6 weeks. Nothing massive, but you'll see momentum. Now, if you're lucky, something may happen, and it may be amazing. But in most cases, it will just be a slight momentum. Now, to really see the needle move, you've got to be on a basis of at least 3 to 6 months, potentially even 9 months, and sometimes even more. It depends on how competitive your space is. And you've got to understand that is the process. That's the process of actually building your authority. Because I remember when we started doing all of our stuff, guest posting and so on and so forth, like, me and Dave, we went hard. Like, I think we published like 12 guest posts, reached out to a ton of websites for product reviews, all within a 30-day period. And you know, like when you look at your results, like your Google Analytics, and you're just like, this is not that amazing. Like, I don't know about this. And I remember, like, I spoke to someone that I know who's got some really big business and stuff, and I said, like, is this worth it? And he said, basically, just keep your mind focused for at least, like, keep your head down and keep doing what you're doing for 9 months. And within 9 months, we were a 4-year business. So it's like, it's really just about keep pushing and keep pushing and doing this stuff. Like, you know what stuff works. Like, and just keep working on those things. And as you slowly start to see the momentum building, just try to do more and more and more of it, or just be consistent with what you're doing, and making it a priority. Because, yeah, like you say, people delay gratification. Like, people just don't want to wait, or they do it for a month, they do it for 2 months, and they're like, oh, this is not working, and they stop. And that's what it's not like. I think within a year and a half, we published 170 guest blog posts. We'd had over 100 product reviews written. We've been featured on over 100 podcasts. We've reached out to tens of thousands of websites. Like, we just didn't stop. You know what I mean? And that's we get the results that we do.
Took time, but it pays off. Just you gotta stick at it. Awesome. Well, Mark, I think we're about out of time here. Do you have any parting thoughts before we're gonna let you go?
Yeah, definitely. I think just the main thing is that all these different techniques, and different things that I'm talking about are great, and they all work if you do them consistently. But the main thing is about your mindset. It's about waking up every day and being prepared to put a little bit into this every single day and build upon that. And then as soon as you can start to build a team of people that can help you do this stuff as well. Because without the right mindset, all of this is just entertainment conversation, if you know what I mean. It's not going to help you.
No, absolutely. And you know, don't forget, I mean, we've kind of had it in the background. There's an assumption we're making is that the content you're producing and the resources that you're producing and whatever you're producing is worthy and helpful enough where people will want to link to it. So don't forget that. I mean, that gets lost a little bit in all this. You can't just say, hey, can you link to me? You do all this stuff, and you're just telling people to link to your website. And unless your website alone is a fantastic resource of some form or fashion, it ain't going to work. So you make sure you're giving people a reason. So it starts with the quality content, and the bestest ways are creating some sort of, ultimate resource, some sort of super helpful guide, whatever. Of course, you can do it with other high quality pieces of content in general, but let's not forget that. So, Mark, how can people continue to learn from you?
So you can find me on Facebook. I've been doing Facebook Lives lately. Just type in Mark Sams and you'll find me. Instagram, it's just at Mark Sams. Obviously, our website is ninjaoutreach.com. We've got ninjaoutreach.com/blog is our blog. So any content and stuff that we're producing comes out on there. And just follow along, and you'll end up signing up to a newsletter or something like that, and you'll be able to get additional content from us. But we're out there consistently, and we practice what we preach.
Yes, sir. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Mark, and till next time.
Thank you so much, Dave. You take care. Have a great day.